Now then, my name's Jules and welcome to the Wedding Mavericks podcast. Wedding Mavericks is an online learning and support community for the wedding industry. This podcast is my way of talking to others to find out different experiences, to learn and explore ways of approaching things, and I hope you get as much value from these conversations as I do. On this episode, I am talking to Jennifer and Elliot, aka the Foxtons. They're a married couple from Yorkshire, and they tied the knot in 2019, so they've freshly experienced what it's like to plan and have a wedding. They also now model as real couples for the wedding industry styled shoots and workshops, so therefore they can provide some great insight into what businesses can do to serve their couples well, as well as some tips for becoming involved in or creating styled shoots and workshops. I thought that it would be great to talk to them to get a completely different insight than being a supplier, and I really hope that there's a lot you can gain from this. So let's dive into the conversation with the Foxtons. Today I'm talking to Jen and Elliot, the Foxtons, also known as the Foxtons. How are you doing, guys?
Good.
Hi, yeah, we're good. Great.
Good.
Thank you for having us.
No, thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. So for people who might be watching and listening who haven't sort of heard about you or met you before, can you just give a little bit of a background, because you're not necessarily kind of wedding suppliers like some of the other people that I'm speaking to, but you have got a very in-depth knowledge of the kind of wedding industry and some of the stuff that you've been doing more recently with working with other suppliers. So if we can go through, first of all, like how you kind of, how you met each other and a little bit about your backgrounds.
You or me?
You.
Me.
There we go.
So we met each other at work. We're both paramedics for Yorkshire Ambulance Service, and we met each other at work about 5 years ago, and we were crewmates. And yeah, that's the rest is history in that sense. And we were probably dating for probably a couple of years, and then we got engaged, and then we got married nearly 2 years ago.
Yeah, so we got married May 2019.
Yeah.
And a videographer.
Is that how we met?
That's how we met.
So yeah, we had a great wedding. We had really good suppliers, and it all went without a hitch. Really, on the actual day, it was really, really good. And our wedding, we were very lucky. A bit of a shoestring budget, and we moved it forward by
a year.
We moved the wedding forward by a year because we were impatient.
2 years. We moved the date once, and then we moved it again.
Yeah, thank God we did. Otherwise, we'd still be waiting.
Yeah, you wouldn't be having one now, would it?
It wouldn't have happened last year, and it definitely wouldn't be probably happening next month this year.
Well, fingers crossed for this year. We, as well as what we did, was it 6 months before the wedding, we changed venue. Because we got married. Are we allowed to name venues?
Oh yeah, by all means, yeah.
So we got married, the actual ceremony at Hazelwood Castle, and it was great. That's where we wanted to get married because it was just our type of venue. But with it being such a large venue, they wanted more guests than we wanted to pay for.
Right.
So we were at opposite ends of the negotiation. Like all weddings, suppliers want to get as much as possible financially whilst not overcommitting themselves. And we were at the opposite end, trying to get as much as possible whilst not paying very much. Like all married couples or couples getting married.
It's very expensive.
And Hazelwood, to a certain degree, they were accommodating, but we just found it hard to meet in the middle. So that led to our choice to take our reception elsewhere, mainly financial. And because we have a lot of young children in the family, we wanted somewhere a bit more child-friendly.
I mean, Hazelwood Castle as a venue is a fantastic venue. So it's not the venue that was particularly the problem. I think what we've found from speaking to other people moving on is that, unfortunately for us, I think we just didn't get the right wedding coordinator that for us.
Okay.
apparently talking to other couples that have also had similar dealings at Hazelwood Castle, there's two wedding coordinators and you get one or the other. If you have the one that we had, they had similar experiences where she just didn't kind of see our vision. She wasn't really very flexible. She wasn't really willing to work with us. She was kind of like, this is what I want to do. And it just didn't really work for us. And I've heard that the other lady was actually totally different. So unfortunately, I think it just depends who you get. And my advice to anyone getting married, wherever the venue is, if there is a wedding, coordinator, probably to really get to know the coordinator before you commit to anything, to see if that person is right for you as a couple and has the same vision as you. Because if not, it's just going to be a little bit of a difficult road, really.
I think we maybe thought the wedding coordinator would be more of a wedding planner. And I think there is a clear distinction there, which we didn't realise at the time, where the coordinator, she's working, or they are working for the venue.
Yeah.
To coordinate with the venue. In terms of coordination, that's avoiding double bookings and coordinating what package you want. And that's about as far as it goes.
Yeah.
Whereas we thought there would be more of a wedding planner who would help us along and sort the fine details and help fine tune the day. And that's maybe where we got a bit confused at that point.
Yeah.
And I think that distinction would be quite helpful for a couple who are planning to get married. Is you can't, the venue are there to be a venue, and they're not going to dot the I's and cross the T's for you because there's other couples who they're also very busy with.
Yeah. Absolutely, that's a really sort of important point, I think, because I think sometimes wedding suppliers, service providers, they can sometimes get so kind of immersed in their job that they don't think of what it's like to be a couple, maybe. And the thing is, most people, they don't get married very often. They might get married once, twice, but it's not going to be. You're not going to get married every week, so it's not something you're doing regularly, and it's not something that you don't plan weddings either, unless you are a wedding planner. So, like you say, you didn't really understand what you were going to be able to get from them, and that's like, it doesn't really matter whether you're talking about a wedding planner or a coordinator, but any wedding supplier, I think it's really important that they explain to couples, processes and exactly what they're getting from you.
Yeah, and maybe just as well, how with the venue that you're viewing, how flexible is that venue? Does this venue come with package, bronze, silver, and gold, and they're not really willing to, move from that too far, or are they completely flexible and they are, we are a building and now we are, going to make your wedding individual? And I think that's something as well that maybe probably is a good thing to address. Really have a bit of a vision, of what you want before maybe you go and look at the venue, just so kind of what am I looking at here. Like if you were house hunting, you'd kind of know kind of what you're looking for. I want a garden, I want this, I want how many bedrooms. To maybe sit and have a chat about what kind of wedding you think you might want, maybe, rather than going in kind of like, you tell me what should we do, it's probably a good idea.
That's a good point. We had Jenny came up with a wedding book, which I think a lot of brides particularly get now, and in it you put dress ideas, colour schemes, shortlisted venues, shortlisted photographers, shortlisted videographers, and all suppliers really. And then you can use that book to pull it all together to see what's going to work. And that really helped us, didn't it? As well, you can budget as well, and you can tot it all up how much you want to spend versus how much you're realistically going to spend. And if you have to, sometimes you have to make difficult choices and negotiate down as well. I think that's one thing that Jenny taught me, is always there's room for flexibility sometimes if you hit the right suppliers, and if you can get on with them and they want to do that day, if they're free, and you just always talk. And if the people can help you out, then we found they normally will, as long as you go about it the right way.
Yeah, definitely. Because from having then produced this book, it kind of helped us kind of see more what, where we were going with what we wanted. And in the end, we decided realistically we wanted an intimate wedding. We only wanted, minimal amount of people there, less than 25. which probably would have worked if we'd have got married now. But that's what we wanted for the ceremony, because that was really quite intimate for us. But we wanted a big party afterwards. We have a lot of friends, a lot of colleagues. They all like a party, and we needed a venue that was kind of going to be relaxed with that and be open to kind of that kind of party feel, that we were wanting. And it just didn't that, which is fine. It's fine to split venues because we wanted to feel for the day. We wanted it to have the serious ceremony in the lovely castle in the morning, and then in the afternoon it was like, right, now we're married, we're excited and we're celebrating. And let's now just let our hair down and have a party, really. So it's fine to if you don't find everything in one venue,
we used Priory Cottages in Wetherby for our second half of our day. And what we did is, because we got married with a very small wedding at the other venue, we had the larger second venue with Priory Cottages, and we had all of our guests arrive there for 3:00 so that we could get off this nice bus that we booked, and all of our guests were there waiting, and we basically went straight into the party, didn't we? So speeches, dances, cake cutting. And it was just like a big garden party, really. No formalities, no stops and starts for all different traditional elements of the wedding. Just let's go have a free bar and let everyone have a great time. And it really worked for us, didn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I have been married before. So this was my second wedding. So just having done it all the traditional way in like, here you are, here's your venue, here's your package, and this is kind of what we do. I took away from my experience the first time round was we had this night do, it started at like 7:30, 8:00. By the time everyone's arrived, by the time you've actually got round everybody and said, oh, hi, how you doing? Right, I've got to go. I'll see you later. Thank you for coming. That's all you could say to people. And then before you know it, it's over. It's midnight.
It's all finished,
And it's over. And you haven't actually had a conversation with anybody. You've not actually eaten any of the buffet. You've not had a dance with the girls. Like, it's over in a flash. The celebration was over, and everyone always knows that your wedding day goes so quickly anyway. And so we were like that big chunk in the middle of the day. You get married in the morning, and then you have your wedding breakfast, and then you've got that kind of spare time. And it was like, why don't we start the party now? And then we actually can get round everybody. We can actually spend time with our guests. We can actually enjoy the party ourselves, which we did at the end of the night. We didn't go when we were meant to go, and we stayed a few hours later.
It was great.
We cancelled the taxi. And I think that made a big difference, that people, they really felt welcomed at the wedding. They really feel that we gave them the time. They really felt that they were part of the day. They didn't, they weren't just there. And it was great. And as well, people, that, were at work the next day, but were off on that day. And we welcomed children. They could come. They could, go early. They didn't feel like, they had this strict time that they had to be there and leave. So some came at 3 and left by 5:30, 6 o'clock. Some people fed the kids or whatever, got them all ready after school, because it was a midweek wedding as well. And then came, didn't they, and left early. And some people were there the whole time. Some people came after work, if they finish at like 7 o'clock, like our colleagues.
In terms of, if you think of time like real estate, we just gave ourselves so much more time to fit everything in, and rather than it being hurry up and wait or stressful, strict timings, it was really laid back and quite enjoyable, and actually got to, like you said, spend time with our guests and each other, and it was great.
So my main advice when it comes to a wedding is, if you can, maybe consider having your party, start it early and enjoy it for as long as you can. That's probably my advice.
The thing is, like, the great takeaway, I think, for wedding suppliers is that you are saying, and I do think that things have changed over the last, let's say, 10 years. I mean, I think it's 13 or 14 years. I should know that really, but it's about that since we got married. And it was that very structured, very strict. You did everything at the hotel, and then they kind of had control over everything. And like you're talking about numbers, like you started talking about numbers with Hazelwood Castle. I know that there are still venues that are very dictated by, because they need to make their money, and they can't make their money if they don't have the numbers. So that kind of comes into it, doesn't it? And I think what you're saying is that as a couple who have recently had a wedding, that suppliers really, in order to give the best customer service and give what the client wants, is to be flexible about it. And you're saying the party was the most important part to you, so you know what I mean. So like the party and celebrating with people was important to you, so you have to listen to what the couple want and be able to.
Everyone's individual, and everyone has a different what's important to them. So the ceremony was, to us, the most important bit was just getting married, and that's why we had such a small ceremony, because we were like, well, that's really between us, and who needs to be for that. For us, we found it quite private, probably because you've said this before, Jenny.
In terms of picking a supplier, though, we did shortlist suppliers based on price, location, and we found them in the wedding magazines, the ones where you pick up at fairs.
Well, I went to fairs
and
first.
Google. Yeah, and I think wedding fairs were good to meet people face to face. I think that was probably the most important way of meeting people. And then looking at photographers and videographers, looking at portfolios as well, and word of mouth from people who you know.
Yeah.
I think the biggest, largest, most important factor in us picking suppliers was, could we get on with them or not, and build that rapport. And that ultimately trumped price, location, everything. Was, can we work with this person? And because it's stressful enough, we didn't want any more stress than we already had.
Yeah.
That did rule some people out of it. The products and services they were providing were brilliant, but if their customer service, if their manner was just everyone's got stress, but you've got to look after your customers, I think, is the biggest thing. And that doesn't have to be discounts. It can just be being reasonable and replying to emails or phone calls in a timely manner. Because we were racked with nerves trying to find the right suppliers in all sorts of different sections of the wedding. And it really is stressful when you're waiting for a reply.
Yeah. And
when the people are friendly and you can get on with them and they help you out, it makes such a difference. And that's definitely the most important factor to me.
I think wait, because when you what it's like when you contact somebody and you're like, oh, I'm really thinking, I like what you're doing here, could you do this, how much is it, are you available? And when you're waiting for that reply, you're like, oh my gosh. But in the meantime, someone else might reply first, and you'll think, well, that other person's obviously not interested, and then it puts you off, because you think, well, they didn't reply to me now, what if I need to talk to them about something or whatever? And you just think, oh my gosh, they're unavailable, they're not communicating. And I think that's the biggest thing, is communication with your couples, even if it's a follow-up, and let's say you've kind of, had a chat and you've done something verbally in principle, following up with that is a really big thing, because we've got so much on our minds, and you're probably going to forget, who have I spoken to this week? And it's not that we're, not interested, or, what, the general brides and grooms aren't interested. It's probably just that they've forgotten, or they've had something else, and it's not that they're not interested. So then if they were to contact them again, they've actually booked someone else. It's like, oh my gosh, what I did was I just...
So basically, communication's a real key to the let's say from a supplier's perspective, is acquiring couples and clients, is getting that communication right. And actually, what you're saying is because you both got busy jobs and kids to look after and all sorts of other stuff going on in your lives, actually being doing the follow-ups is providing a better service. Because I know that some suppliers will be, I don't want to annoy people, I don't want to, but actually, sending those email follow-ups and that constant line of communication, it's helpful for you.
Yeah, just knowing you're there as well, in case we do have any questions, that you are contactable. And, it's probably best for you guys to contact us and us not get back to you, but know that you're there. And that's really...
Yeah, I would say as well, from a business point of view, I would say it's pretty much critical, to make that contact, build that rapport, don't be one of those suppliers who pressures people or strong arms them into an immediate decision. But absolutely, a week or two later, if you haven't heard anything, follow up on it, and see if there's anything you can do to then get that sale or get that commitment. And that's definitely going to help increase numbers.
Yeah.
We know of a supplier recently who missed out by not doing that with a customer, and it was just a pure miscommunication. And in the end, both of them missed out on that good deal that they had for each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, name people, but it's just another kind of example of it is so important to communicate.
So
our players we had were the ones that we've all like yourself, we've remained in remained in contact, and we've actually become quite friendly with each other. And it's nice because when you share your wedding day with somebody, it's probably one of the biggest days of your life, and everybody involved in your wedding, becomes, part of the most important day of your life. So actually to have a good connection with the people that were involved in making your day, it makes a big difference, doesn't it? It makes the day go easy and laid back and fun, and just, it's
fun.
Fantastic.
Absolutely.
Fantastic.
We had fantastic suppliers as well.
If we can come back to that, because that's really important thing to talk about, is that kind of how you are on the day, how your day went, how suppliers either influence that day positively or negatively. But if we can just come back very briefly to, you talked about wedding fairs, but one of the things that kind of I think wedding suppliers struggle with the most is kind of the marketing and finding clients, especially finding the right clients for them. So how did you find your wedding suppliers? Can you remember? Was it key? I mean, I don't think I saw you at wedding fair, but I think probably the photographer referred me. But what about the other people? Was it more wedding fairs? Because these days, actually, wedding fairs tend to be the thing that people talk about the least.
I went to a few wedding fairs. I didn't get a chance to actually meet a lot of suppliers at the wedding fairs because they were so busy. But the ones that I did meet were my photographer. I actually met my band at the wedding fair, had a chat with them and everything. And I didn't realise until I went through my old wedding fair bag after we got married. I was like, oh my God, it was them all along. Yeah. Which is, you're so busy and there's so much going on.
Yeah.
But it's great to get the business cards, to get the get the information. That was fantastic. And if you have time and it's not that busy to chat to them, then that's great. And my photographer I met at a wedding fair, but he wasn't at this point extremely busy. I'd walked past him, seen his work, liked it. I'd walked around again and then saw he was quite available and it was died down a lot. So I got a chance to actually chat. And then I was like, you're a really cool guy and I like your attitude as well as your work. So for me, it was like, this guy, this is a really good option. I think now if I was to get married again, the thing that seems to be the biggest thing at the moment is Pinterest and Instagram. So, just typing in your hashtags and getting all of your ideas. I used Instagram a little bit last time. But now I think Instagram is where the advertising is. It seems to have grown
massively.
Yeah, that and Pinterest. Maybe not as much Pinterest. I know people do pin boards. They look at all their ideas and get a pin board.
For more inspiration, I think,
book like what I did. But Instagram seems to be where it's at. I seem to think that's people like to flick and just kind of scroll when they're chilling, and that's where they're getting their ideas and they're saving them. And
I'm sure there's other social medias, but we're not that generation.
We're
not on TikTok, are we? And I don't have.
I think
Instagram's quite artistic as well. It allows for the videos now, doesn't it? I don't know what you call it, IGTV. So you can put longer things on, particularly in your line of work, the videography. That really sells itself, doesn't it? When the edits you put together are fantastic, and you look at them and.
But I like that it's all there. So you might say, I don't know, let's say wedding cakes. So you might type in wedding cakes in the search bar, and then all these wedding cakes come up, and then you're looking through them. You can save them or whatever. But if you really, really liked, one in particular, you could click on their profile. You can see where they're based, contact details, and more of the work that they've done.
Yeah.
I just think
it's a good shop front, isn't it? Without having to build a website or anything like that. It's quite handy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can go, and obviously there's a website, you can choose to then go and check that out as well. But I think if I was doing it again, I'd probably be a lot more focused on kind of like the Instagram, looking for the advertisement rather than the physical. And at this climate, physical isn't
not possible, is it?
Back to our band, we found our band, although we'd seen them and liked them.
Yeah.
We actually got to see them firsthand at your brother's wedding.
Right.
And we really liked them, so we went and spoke to them there and then, and we're like, look, we want to use you. And once again, we negotiated, can you do us a deal? And we ended up getting a very good deal because Lizzie from Lizzie and the Crescendos also then does events. So I can't remember, what's her events company called?
Elizabeth Jane Events, isn't it?
There you go. And she also was our wedding planner, which for a wedding planner was fantastic. All the oversights, because we're not wedding professionals, things that you might miss or not think about, they really help tie together and just make sure the day ran smoothly. And particularly for you, any stresses or worries about you on the day, she managed to keep you calm. And
she was amazing.
There's something like I always thought was a luxury that I wouldn't have went for, and it actually turned out to be essential.
Yeah, I know a lot of, some brides, they've always had a clear vision of what they want, since the age of 5 or whatever, and there's no kind of, there's no leeway, this is what's happening, this is what I want, and they know exactly what they're going for.
Yeah.
But quite often, especially with how kind of like styles, they change every single year, and keeping up with what's kind of, not last year's kind of look and this year's look and things like that. Yeah, having somebody who's actively in the industry and a professional and experienced with it. Oh my gosh, I ended up calling her. She was my fairy godmother, wasn't we? We had a bit of a Cinderella theme to our wedding. It's a bit cliche, but she was literally like a fairy godmother. She just the things you didn't think of, and the support. It was the support. It was the communication. It was that person to go, let me hold your hand through this, and this is going to be the best thing ever. And yeah, I would highly, highly recommend Lizzie, especially, but any wedding planner, if it's one for you. Then,
for suppliers as well. Lizzie organised our florist, because now we know lots of florists through the wedding modelling, which I'm sure we'll go on to later.
Yeah.
Lizzie organised and shortlisted florists based on style and price and location.
Yeah, venue stylists.
And she negotiated deals on our behalf. So as a supplier, I think it'd well be worth making contact with those professionals, the wedding coordinators and stylists, and events managers.
There's Jen as well, Jen at My Pretties.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because without Lizzie, those florists wouldn't have got our work, and we'd have had to find someone ourselves.
Yep.
So she acted as a really good introductory broker, almost, to broker those deals and introduce us to the florists and get everyone the best deal.
And as well, her knowing us and knowing what we wanted and what our kind of budgets realistically actually were, it enabled her to go, well, I've got 5 people that I actually know who will do that kind of look that you want really well.
Yep.
And actually, out of those 5, I think I know the best 2 that are going to probably be the best people to negotiate that kind of price with. So she knew these people, and obviously we know a lot of people, and everybody's so different, and and obviously every couple's different, so not our suppliers might not fit someone else's, but there's so many.
Absolutely, but as well,
you guys know each other, that know each other, you know how each other work, the standard of each other's work and what kind of like prices and stuff you work with, and I think. Yeah, I would definitely recommend getting in touch with people that know people to help you plan your wedding.
Yeah,
I find we quite often on the shoots that we've done, we find bunch of suppliers tend to work in little groups together. So we see the same suppliers working there, and then a different bunch will work together. Yeah. And they seem to have, I suppose, with the similar looks that they go for, and they build really good relationships with each other, don't they? And it just works. It all meshes together really nicely. Yeah. And they're all quite lovely people as well, aren't they?
They're all fantastic people. I think people in the wedding industry 9 times out of 10 are. The ones that haven't been in for too long and bored of it, but they're usually really happy people.
It is a happy industry, isn't it? Even with everything that's happening now, it's lovely when we're able to do something and see each other.
It's love at the end of the day, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I think sometimes people can lose track of when they're concerned about, everything that's going on, or, they're bogged down with the day to day. But at the end of the day, when you actually get to do your job, it's it's love that you're dealing with, and happy occasions and fun occasions. But just to go back there, when you're talking about sort of wedding planners and coordinators, they are good people as suppliers. They are good people to make links with, and it's more than just that kind of the obvious of like, oh well, if they like me, they might refer me. But it's actually, there's all these networks, like you say, and so you don't really know, by getting in with people and getting to know them, you don't really know where that's going to lead and what opportunities that's going to open up. And that's what you're talking about. You've got somebody who knows florists and is going to use someone, so you need to be on that list.
Absolutely.
And I think again, I'm not going to get married again, but I think if I were to have been getting married again, if you've got the time to sit with a scrapbook or whatever, Pinterest account or whatever, and do it all yourself, and some people find that fun, but a lot of people I've spoken to find that element of it extremely stressful. It is so tiring. It is so mind-boggling. It's just, where do I go with this? And it takes hours and hours and hours and hours of planning, and it is, everyone always says the wedding planning is just, so long and tedious, and takes it away from it sometimes, especially, if you're just getting a bit stressed with it. So I think if I was to get married again, I would always say to someone, if it can be in your budget, get yourself a wedding, planner, get them a planner, because she will be your new best friend. Sit down. She will ask you everything you need to know. There won't be an element missed, and they will create this perfect, vision for you, and they will know how to give that to you on a plate. And actually, you could just sit back and enjoy it and not actually have to do any of the intense planning and searching yourself. You could literally do your wedding planning, but you're doing it, with support and someone doing all the hard work for you.
Yeah, you're coming with the idea, and they're putting it together for you.
Oh God, yeah. So I absolutely, if you can.
That's a really good advert for wedding planners.
Yeah, wedding planner.
Yeah. So let's kind of go to after the wedding. Wedding's happened, or on the wedding day, or after the wedding day. Now looking back, what did anything kind of change in terms of what you were placing importance on, or what you were looking forward to on the build up, and then afterwards? And I'm talking, from if we're thinking about suppliers and the service that they're trying to offer to people like yourselves, wedding couples, what's really important when you look back, or what was important on the day that you maybe not thought would be?
I thought, because you get kind of blinded with the thought of this wedding's all about you too, and that, whatever. But actually, I found that on the day and on the day before, I found myself wanting the suppliers to be involved as well. And I was a bit like, this is your work, and you're just bringing it, like the cake, for example, or the flowers. You're bringing it, you're dropping it, you're leaving. And it's like, you don't get to see all that work you've put into that. You don't get to see it. And quite often, styled shoots, you get to see the product of your work. You get it advertised, you get the beautiful photographs from it. But quite often, you probably don't get these couples' private photographs, to showcase, all your hard work. And I found that we were very much thank you cards and taking pictures, and we wanted people to see, look what your beautiful thing has given us. Look at how it fit into our day. And and that, it's really, I think that's something that I hadn't thought about,
Yeah.
For me on the day, it was just smoothness. So for our day, we were really lucky. Everything went without a hitch, and that was the most important thing. It all ran smoothly. And anything that didn't run smoothly,
We didn't know.
It was sorted about behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And that was really important. You know, if something goes wrong, just deal with it. Don't bother the couple with it.
We didn't know about any. We didn't know about anything.
Timings. Try and stick to timings. But the one thing that really surprised me was the video, because
I haven't paid them to say that.
No, like with the wedding coordinator, it was something that I thought, oh, this is a luxury we can't afford. And I pictured a man with a 1980s, 1990s camcorder on his shoulder, kind of getting in the way. And I was like, oh, Jen, I don't want to pay for one of these. And anyway, it was probably the thing that I was most shocked about after the wedding, because for me, it was a luxury. I'd never really seen a good wedding video before. You know, it was always the you've been framed type videos. So when I saw the one that you did for us, that was highly polished, highly edited, and every time we show it to someone, it makes them cry in a good way.
Every time.
But the photos are amazing. We have photos from our wedding up around our house, and they're lovely to see every day. But they capture a moment in time. But the video, it shocked me because it captures feelings of the day. And it really tied it all together. And I was really surprised and very emotional about that. And I think the follow-up of that and really was just lovely, wasn't it? And I think that was the other thing about after the wedding. We were so grateful and we did send thank yous, but we also got messages from the suppliers. There was just a little nice personal touch, wasn't it? You know, when someone gets in contact with you and says, you know, here's your photos, here's your video, we hope you had a lovely day, thank you for using us. And that little follow-up really separates people. And I think it's just that extra touch, which really did make it extra special. And we went on honeymoon straight away, and we didn't have all the photos, we didn't have all the video.
We got sneak peeks.
But getting those sneak peeks just whets your appetite.
Yeah.
And it really, you're like, just seeing a moment, you're like, oh my God, I can't wait to see the whole thing. And then it builds up that anticipation, and you feel like you're not worried, thinking, oh, well, is it going to come? Are we going to get this? You know, like, did they lose the memory cards?
And I think when you're away on honeymoon or after the wedding, there's always that, you know, you're always a bit bluesy afterwards because it's been planning for so long. And you're just like, oh, it's over. So just kind of getting trickle fed, you know, little bits that carry it on and just keep that spark. I was just going to say, it keeps the magic going. And, you know, that little follow-up was a nice touch. It really was. Going back to what you were saying about a videographer, absolutely 100% recommend a videographer, because what Elliot said, you know,
Not a videographer, Jules.
The videographer.
There are others available.
We've met a lot of videographers, and there are some fantastic.
Yeah, find one that's right for you.
But again, it's what's right for you with the style that's right for you or whatever. And I know you guys are very flexible with styles, but again, it's about that connection, isn't it? But we... Elliot, what I was going to say is, the photographs capture a moment in time, and every time, especially with the ceremony being so intimate, you know, people didn't get to see our wedding, like that moment, and because you captured every single element of the day, like we watched that video and we go, there wasn't a single element of that day that was not covered by that video. And it was put together so beautifully from all the different angles, from all the different perspectives, from ours to what other people would do. It was just the most perfect video ever, and it was so emotive, wasn't it? And it just caught every element perfectly in such a beautiful, you know, romantic way with the music and everything. It wasn't just you've been framed and physically watching the vows, because, you know, they can drag on, can't they? But it was just the most perfect parts of the day, every single element of the day, nothing missed, put together. So people that I've now made friends with since being married, who obviously weren't at my wedding, who now I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I wish you'd been at my wedding. We can show them that video, and it was as if they'd been there.
The truth that people have said they feel like they've been there, because it just shows it all. It's wonderful, isn't it?
I've seen everything. I feel like I have seen your wedding that I really experienced, you know, what I didn't see physically.
It's made more than a few girls cry.
It makes them all cry.
Yeah.
It makes them cry. Still makes you cry.
Don't tell people.
It is perfect. It is, the thing that I think that we didn't think was a big deal, which I kind of was like, oh, actually, I've heard about these videographers, and, you know, actually, I've been told, you know, we should definitely do it. It's the thing, that and the planning was the things that you don't think of, which are really, really, really big things.
Meeting your photographer as well. We were lucky that we met Kieran. We won an engagement shoot with Kieran before our wedding. So it was great because as much as we're sensible all the time, put us in front of a camera and we just turn into children. I've never really had my photo taken before our engagement shoot, and now we do it quite a lot.
Look at you now.
Yeah, and
good photography.
It was really good of just getting to know him, so that we knew, because he'd done our engagement shoot, which again for photographers, if you can get a pre-wedding shoot in,
oh my gosh, yeah,
I think it makes such a difference, because we knew what the type of photos we were going to get. We knew how to work with him. We'd already met him, so I was very nervous before walking down the aisle or waiting for Jen to walk down the aisle, and just seeing Kieran. And he took me to one side and he took a few detailed photos, and he was just really reassuring to have, because again, working in the industry, he knows what to expect, he knows what to do. And that him just taking me to a side for maybe a minute or two, it really helped calm my nerves. And he got some great photos, and I think that's probably a nice touch for photographers.
And I think having met them before, I think there's nothing worse than on the day of your wedding, for the first time, meeting somebody, and it's like, I don't know before we're going to get on, or it's something you don't need to think about. So instead of being like, oh my god, I've got this photographer, I've never met him, I don't know what they're like, you're sat there having your hair and makeup done or whatever, and then they walk in, you're like, oh hi, and you already know each other, and it just then makes it even more exciting. And it's like, you've made a new friend, and it's a friendly face, and you just want to see friendly faces,
I think that
faces that on your day, don't you? It just takes away any kind of nerves, doesn't it?
I think that goes back to our earlier point of build that rapport. That rapport is so important, and it really goes a long way on how we would pick suppliers and working with people as well. With other suppliers, we have really good rapport with some of our suppliers, and who we work with now, we're doing the photography or the modelling, and they're more like friends when we see them. It's just like catching up. It's really nice, and it enables us, when we do the modelling, to get the best out of everything, really.
You get the best pictures as well. I think if you're more relaxed, and things aren't false, and you feel comfortable in your environment, because you've already had that kind of, you've broken the ice a bit, you've took away that kind of like awkwardness. It just gives you the best pictures, because you're being your natural selves, you're not trying to
Yeah, absolutely. It's a bit like if you go to a party and you don't know anybody, you're not going to feel like yourself, and you're going to be worried about it. Whereas, if you know that you're going to a party that's your friends, you're going to turn up, you're going to have a couple of drinks, you're going to be fitting right in, aren't you, and enjoying yourself. So,
kids, we don't do parties anymore.
Me neither. Last time I went to one was a wedding.
It's the same with the modelling though now, because there tends to be kind of like links, and you tend to come across people quite often, and it's just you come to do your shoot, and you're like, oh, it's you, like, how are you doing? And it's just it makes everything so much easier and more relaxed. So definitely.
So building those relationships and the communication, absolutely, key to it all, really, which is something that comes up no matter who I talk to, no matter what type of industry supplier they are. That everyone talks about the same thing, about that, building that rapport. And like you're saying with the communication, it isn't just, before you're trying to get the client, but it's the whole process. It's all the way through, up through the planning stage. If you communicate between getting booked and the wedding properly, and if you arrange things like a pre-wedding shoot, then you're going to build that rapport up, and the day is just going to be so much more straightforward. It might not be needed for every single type of supplier, but definitely for the ones that are there on the day that you're going to have a lot of contact with, and it wants to be relaxed and it wants to be friendly. And even afterwards, like you said, take that communication and that customer service all the way through, right till everything's been delivered, and keep in touch. It's not hard to do, is it? But it makes a massive difference.
I think with this year, last year, the difficulties as well, I think that's made a massive difference, because people who may have been married, wedding photographers must have struggled, but then people have been using their wedding photographers for the doorstep photography for Christmas, and other events. It's not just weddings that these guys are out and about doing now. They've really diversified the portfolios. The people we've met, and they're doing maternity shoots.
Oh well, that's it, isn't it? Your wedding photographer, like, you never know. If things happen for you, they may be the person you contact to.
It's definitely a little bit of aftercare.
It continues, doesn't it?
Just it goes a long way.
Yeah. Well, Lizzie, obviously Lizzie and the Crescendos, there was the band at my brother's wedding, they were the band at our wedding, and they've been the band at our children's christenings. They're going to be the band when eventually we ever get to meet up. We'd arranged a family reunion party.
Yep.
So if that ever happens, they're the band so they are like our band now, the family band, and it's nice for her as well because, and the guys that they're kind of coming along that journey as well. It's not like you've watched a movie and you're like, oh, well, I wonder what happened after that.
But then again,
they're involved. It's nice.
Thinking about it, that might be something for the future. Maybe speak to these guys if it's a big family reunion and get some snaps and a bit of footage. That might be.
Well, that's it as well. But just quickly going back to the videography. You say vows to each other on the day, and you know what you're saying at the time that you're saying it, and obviously you mean what you're saying at the time. But I don't remember my vows. I don't remember them by heart. I know what they mean and I know what I promised, but I don't know. I can't remember Elliot saying them as such.
It goes very quickly, and it's a very
so to look back and physically rehear that person say those vows to you again, to see how they were looking at you, not just in that snapshot but that moment, and to hear you saying those vows and to actually hear them for the words, it's just beautiful, and it's like, you can see you saying that to each other and then looking at the look on other people's faces, and it's just, it's like those Harry Potter pictures, isn't it? You see more than just a still. It captures an entire moment, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well, the Harry Potter pictures, like, it captures a moment, doesn't it? Oh, stop it. That's like Facebook profiles or something. Stop it.
So, right, tell me then how we moved from, we got married, we're paramedics, and now you are, I don't open Instagram without seeing photos of you. So you're doing a lot of modelling for style shoots with wedding suppliers, workshops, things like that. So tell me how that kind of came about.
Well, again, it was that relationship and, with your suppliers. So our wedding photographer, Kieran Paul Photography, he contacted us, didn't he? And there was a photography workshop happening, and they were looking for, because obviously with everything going on, it kind of drifted, didn't it, from having agency models coming in, and which was the main, focus before COVID happened, really, wasn't it? It was the main source, was it? Yeah. I believe that. Getting a model, and then when COVID happened, they were like, oh, actually we can't put two strangers together and expect them to be close or kiss or whatever, so they branched out more into the kind of real couple models kind of industry. So when Kieran and Jen and everybody were putting together this photography workshop, they were like, right, we need models, but we need a real couple, and Kieran kindly suggested us. He was like, oh, I know a couple that would probably A, be up for it, and B, I think they look all right. They look all right with the camera. I've worked with them before, the fun crack, and, they've also quite good images, So he contacted us and asked us if we'd do it. And of course I was like, well, I get to wear a wedding dress again. I was really excited. So they were like, do you fancy getting married again for fun? Wear your dress again. Someone's going to do your hair, do your makeup. You're going to get fed, whatever, and have loads of really cool pictures taken. And me and Elliot don't see each other very often. We tend to work completely opposite days. So the days I work, he's at home, and the days that I'm at home, he's at work. So we just don't see each other. We don't get time off together, except for today. We had today off together.
I won't take up too much more of your time.
And it just, so we were like, of course, we're going to get to spend a day together just being in love and having our picture taken and being pampered. It was fantastic. So we did that, and from that, the photographers that we met on the day, and Jen, who organised it, they said, you guys need to get yourself on this bandwagon, because I think this could work for you. So we went away, we did as we were told, And that was it. We started being contacted by some of them were word of mouth from people that had been there that had then said, I'm doing something, and had met us. So they'd kind of passed things on, and people gone, I've heard about you guys, from the shoot that you did, are you interested? And some of them we've done with Jen. We've done a few more with Jen, and obviously she already knew us anyway. But yeah, it started off, made an Instagram account, didn't we? We had our photographs as proof of what we can do. And then it just kind of took off from there, really, didn't it?
Yeah, I don't think really it's even proof of what we can do.
And everyone else.
It just highlights everyone else's work.
That's it. I was going to say.
Because for the styled shoots, they're fantastic because we work with suit suppliers, dress suppliers, venues, food, hair and makeup, musicians. I'm forgetting something. Floristry, photographers, videographers. So they're a really good way of getting everyone together, and we've met a lot of people through doing them. And we've had a lot of fun. Everyone's generally, most 99% of the time, really, really nice. We get on with everyone. Yeah. And they're all really quite talented as well, which is lovely.
Fantastic. It's just, it's nice to have your picture taken and it look good.
It's a nice antidote to our day-to-day life, particularly this year. It's
good for us. It's a good release for us to spend time together, which we don't get, and to get away from the life that we live, for the things that we deal with every day. It's totally different, and it's nice to actually see a bit of glamour.
It is glamorous. We've done some really glamorous shoots up at Jogo Abbey, and was it Thicket Priory? It was nice. We saw you at Thicket Priory, didn't we?
Yes. Well, I don't know if you've done another one there since, but that first one,
And then where else? We've been down to Oxford. We've been.
Wow.
It's taken us far and wide.
We went to Cornwall Manor, wasn't it? In Oxford. That was beautiful building.
We've had a few cancelled because of various lockdowns.
Yeah.
But the style shoots have been really good. We met a lot of suppliers, and it really shows the diversity of different people's work with what they can do and what they want to do, and what direction each individual in their industry is going in, and it's very diverse. And the style shoots are good for that, I think, in getting a lot of people together, who work together, and some who don't work together, but at least they know, rather than doing that at a wedding.
It's really good for, connections, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a good way of networking, absolutely. Style shoots for some of the more junior people in the industry as well, who are just starting out. They've gained a lot of knowledge and a lot of skill off more experienced professionals. Yeah. And just that sharing of knowledge is definitely a good thing to come out of the industry.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Sharing connections, sharing knowledge, and in providing a portfolio as well, building up your your work. It's like kind of CPD, isn't it, for you guys?
I was surprised at how busy we were from our first shoot. Within a month, I think we had 2, and then it worked out. We were doing about 1 shoot a week at one point. Right. It was phenomenal.
Wow.
Some weeks 2, and we were really, really busy.
It was amazing.
And if you're getting paid for these things, that's nice as well. But equally, if you're not, you meet nice people and get the photographs, which for any couple or someone who wanted to start doing the bridal modelling, start off small, and then people will contact you and offer what they offer. And again, there's always room for negotiation based on travel time, how far you've got to go, how long it's going to be, and what you have to do, because sometimes we're outside in the cold for quite a long time.
Do you know what, interestingly enough, and I haven't spoken to Elliot about this yet, but there was actually quite a big Facebook feed on this point yesterday that I did actually notice. I didn't comment on it myself, but I did see that there was a lot of model couples, ones that I know of as well, that were getting involved in this discussion. Right. And I could think that they were saying. So somebody put it on. It was on a wedding styled, website, page, and basically saying that suppliers have been wanting to do, a styled shoot, and one in particular, I don't know who it was, contacted a model couple and had said, whatever do you do TFP? And obviously, yes, everybody, I imagine, would offer TFP, but it does kind of come under circumstance. And what had happened in this instance is that then because they've said no, we don't do TFP, that they've been then treated quite rudely. And the question
on the group
I mean, the question that had been put forward in this Facebook group, which had brought up the discussion, was, can I please ask, when hiring or looking for model couples for style shoots, what kind of are, like, what is the circumstances, basically? So the general consensus from this, chat that happened was everybody's happy to be asked if they do TFP. Like, that's not a problem. Some people will, some people won't, but don't feel that you can't ask. Usually, more junior kind of like starting out model couples will do TFP more willingly because they haven't got the portfolio.
Yeah, they're trying to build up their portfolios as well,
and they're wanting to kind of, have some, experience as well. However, what I got from this chat is that, after a handful of shoots and a handful of experience, unfortunately, the model couples don't get a lot out of doing the style shoots, in the sense of, advertising themselves, like you guys, coming together. You get a lot more in that sense out of it.
Yeah.
We get the beautiful photographs, but that's the reason why model couples are asking kind of like to be paid, because quite often it's not a full-time job.
I think they should be paid 100%.
Yeah, it's a sideline job. It's on the side, and usually, 9 times out of 10, like at least one of the model couple, one of the models in the couple will have to take time off their full-time job to come and do this. So to come and do that free, at a cost to them is kind of quite a big ask, especially if they're an experienced model couple.
Well,
so it was just, don't feel afraid to ask, because especially if it's a different concept to something that's not been done before, or it's something that they may really wish to do, like horseback riding or a waterfall or something totally different, and they really want that for their portfolio, then I'm sure they will happily do TFP, or just expenses covered, travel and things. But 9 times out of 10, a model couple, especially an experienced set, will come with either a price per hour or a price for an amount of time. And that's kind of from this chat. It was just interesting that you'd said it. It seemed to be quite a big thing that went off in the Facebook world yesterday. And so just putting it out there that don't feel was basically, don't feel afraid to ask. But if the answer is no, then absolutely don't be rude to them, because they have a reason for. And that was, I think it was just one negative experience that kind of kicked off some
rippled out there.
Just speaking on behalf of kind of all the other model couples that I know, and all the ones that I saw in this feed, that was kind of the conclusion of the conversation, really. So just putting it out there for them.
TFP, if it's not a million miles away, if it's not 12 hours, it's just got to be appropriate. Everyone's got to benefit from it, and you do benefit from a TFP if you get those really good photos, and it's a networking opportunity.
So
it's got to benefit everyone, hasn't it? And that's why we all do these things. Everyone wants to get something out of it in the best way possible.
That was just brought it up just because it was just came up in conversation.
No,
and I felt like you've only got us two today, and you've not got the 20 other couples that were talking on this discussion yesterday. So it's probably something that comes up quite often, really, is how do we approach these model couples from Instagram? How do they like to be approached? What can we ask?
How do they like to be approached? I would say you offer to pay them for the time, because like you wouldn't say, I'll just come shoot your wedding for free because I'm no problem, I'll come shoot for free. Do you know what I mean? That's the thing, isn't it? And like you say, if it's a particular concept that sounds really interesting, or something that you might want to do, if there's something else that you might get out of it, but once you've shot, a couple of style shoots for nothing, and you've got some nice photos, and people can see that you would be good models, why shouldn't you get recompensed for your time? Because you're not gonna get, not necessarily going to get anything out of going and spending your time there. You could be doing something else, couldn't you? So I do, I wouldn't worry about that. I do think that's ridiculous that people would get upset because someone was asking to be paid for their time.
It seems to have been a problem on this thing, but I've come across it, once, before, where somebody's approached and said, would you do this? And they hadn't said, in the terms, kind of like, I've got this idea, this is what I'm thinking, it will be paid, it will be this is kind of the hours we're thinking. There was just they said everything except for the fact of whether it would be paid or not. So naturally you have to then ask, and it's awkward, but you ask and say, can I please ask, is this TFP?
Yeah.
And I got blocked. Is this TFP or paid? And then I found out that I was actually blocked after that. And I was like, But so I've experienced that too. You know, I've seen that it's something that happens quite often, you know, that people see if we ask to be paid, which is I think why this thing on Facebook kicked off yesterday, because it's not uncommon.
Is it taboo talking about the
taboo to talk about paid?
Yeah, and I mean, so just speaking kind of to support all the other model couples, really, it's, you know, we're not offended if you ask if we do TFP, and if it's a concept, you know, and some people really are happy to do TFP. It might be like they've got nothing on that day or whatever, their reasons is their reasons.
It is a fun day out as well, isn't it? Sometimes if it's round the corner and you have to, like what Jen said, you've got nothing on. So you've got nothing on, it's around the corner, you think, why not? We'll go along and meet some people, and it's really good fun.
Yeah. But 9 times out of 10, you know, usually, you know, it has to be planned for. We have to book time off, you know, and you know, is, you know, you're asking for our time, and it's a long time.
Absolutely. No, I totally agree. So that's like a good tip for anybody who's organising any shoots or anything like that. Is there anything else that sort of you can think of from the experience of doing all these shoots? Because you must have done quite a few now. I mean, from what I've seen, you've done all sorts of different styles. So what is there any other tips or anything that sticks out advice-wise for, you know, the people that are attending style shoots or workshops, things like that, in terms of like getting those images from you and why they would want to do that? You know, why that's going to benefit them rather than you know, other situations they could get photographs and video in.
It gives them the opportunity without the pressure, I think, you know, and, you know, obviously when you're actually shooting someone's wedding, like, you know, those pictures have to be absolutely top form, you know what I mean? You can't kind of try a new lens or a new angle or a new kind of idea. You can't play, you know, with your ideas as such most times. You know, I can't speak for everybody, but on the actual wedding day, because that's when you're expected, you know, to do what you do. And got to
deliver, yeah.
Yeah, so it gives photographers, you know, videographers at these workshops the opportunity to have no pressure with whatever they want to experiment with, whatever they want to develop on, you know, meeting other photographers, other videographers, asking other, you know, making those connections. But because sometimes, you know, you double buddy, don't you know, at weddings, and sometimes it's, I think if you, I don't know, like working together, and then sometimes if you see how somebody else works or something that they do that you'd not thought of doing, and then you can try it, and there's just no obligation. It's just a nice way of not putting pressure on yourself, but getting that portfolio built up, trying out new things, and meeting people in the industry. And for us as models, you know, when we have, you know, people taking our pictures and things, we are more than happy to try things. We are more than happy for you to tell us, you know, oh, we really want to try this shot. Have you seen this? Would you like to do that? We've had it a couple of times. You know, model couples are more than happy usually to kind of either be directed or ask, you know, would you mind trying this pose? Or, you know, like, don't feel afraid to ask us, you know, and, you know, engage with us in that way. I think that's...
Yeah, I think as a supplier, there's probably 3 main benefits. Is you get content, which over the last 18 months has been a bit hard with the lockdowns, the lack of weddings. So it's a really good way of building up content, especially with the themed shoots. You know, you can get a black tie one, you can get a boho type outdoor wedding ceremony one, you can get your traditional one. So the style shoots provides material, which is like going back to the Instagram and the online presence. It's really handy for that.
Yeah, and diversity. Then, what else as well? Can you do all these different types of work? There's
the networking side, which is absolutely brilliant to meet other professionals, be it, you know, the media with the photography and the videographers, or the coordinators, the caterers. So you're building up your little black book of network. And then finally, going back to what Jen said, there's that trial and error. The amount of times we've spent 15 minutes walking backwards and forwards up an aisle so that a photographer or videographer can say, oh, can you just do that again? I need it from a different angle. Or, oh, no, actually, can you do that and look this way? Or look at the camera, look above the camera. And it really lets them play around with the settings and their presets and get what they need and go, oh, that's too light, that flash doesn't work. And test their equipment and get...
To know which shot is the best shot and which shot looks, you know, because you only get that one shot of walking down the aisle that one time on the day. And if you already know that all these different kind of like trial and errors has given, this is, you know, the best way of doing it, you're going to get those pictures. You're going to get it. You're going to get that shot, aren't you? You know,
we've seen that as well. We've seen shots that photographers have trialed and finally managed to get just right or set up with us. We've then seen them go on to reproduce those shots with other clients or other model couples.
Yeah. Caught the moment.
Yeah. So they've obviously gone home, looked at their photos from that day, went, oh, right, yeah, I really like that angle. And we find that with different photographers we've worked with, is some come and they know exactly how to direct you. And they're like, right, put your hand there, stand that way, look that way. Shot, perfect. 3 seconds flat, I've got the perfect shot.
Yeah.
And some of the more junior ones really struggle with getting that. And I think that's one of the benefits from these days, absolutely, is just really perfecting your craft in what Jen said is a no pressure environment. They can ask us to do ridiculous things 100 times. You know, we ended up in a boat, we've been stood out in the rain, we've been stood in icy wind, and you couldn't ask a live couple on a wedding day to do that because they'd be miserable.
Yeah, and as a couple that have got married recently, you probably wouldn't want to spend your day. You know, that's kind of the sales pitch from my perspective. A lot of the time is, I'm not going to have you doing that, but you that means it's difficult to try new things and learn because you want to be as succinct with your time with the couple, don't you, on the wedding day?
The difference, you don't want to take that, oh, I'm just going away for an hour to get some photos done and leave you all your guests.
Yeah.
If it can do it, a quick 5 minutes and candid, and just pop over here for a minute. And that, it really worked, didn't it? It really did work. And actually the 15 minutes we did take out was a bit of a relief, to be honest. So much hell of our guests. That little bit of downtime we had, walking through those trees with a drone, keeping us company.
Just to be with each other and just to,
It was lovely.
And the only other thing about styled shoots that happens every single time is they always overrun. Yeah. Always. So if they go, I think we're going to be finished by 3, just bear in mind, sometimes it does, but just bear in mind that, it may overrun. It might overrun by an hour, an hour and a half. So just be prepared for that. I think that's the only thing. They tend to always overrun. So
for organisers of styled shoots, now some of our stylists and event companies who organise are fantastic. Keep everyone warm. Keep them fed. Because it really makes a difference. And sometimes the elements, especially in this country, are against you. And if you want people to be at the best, definitely that goes a long way, doesn't it? Yeah. And talk before the shoot. So we've done a shoot and Jen's helped people out by speaking to providers and suppliers that Jen knows to get things like dresses when someone's pulled out short notice, or suits. We have a lady called Laura from Howarth Menswear who, if anything ever goes wrong with a shoot, I know I can go to Laura at Howarth and she will get me a suit. Come rain or shine, even if it means she'll drive to my house, she will drop one off for me. And having that relationship with suppliers and being able to call on each other when you're a bit stuck really helps. But I think if everything's organised beforehand, it's much better, because the last thing we want is a supplier to be paying us for our time and then us be there not doing anything. Yeah. When we get on the job, we want them here. When we get to a shoot, we want to be providing the organisers and the photographers as much of our time as possible. So if they're like, right, stand there, and they keep pausing us and keep pausing us and keep moving us and getting as much content for them to then deal with later on, that's what we want. We want to be kept busy on the day, and that's really important, to manage the timings and make sure that the hair and makeup's there, ready to go, and the dress is there. And it's hard to do because you're coordinating a lot of elements, but it definitely makes a difference to how everyone feels, because we've been on shoots where the makeup artists particularly have been under pressure, because that's generally the slowest part of the day.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people don't, I've experienced that a lot of people sometimes don't respect, the work of the makeup artist or the hair, and hairstylist, is that if they know how they work, they know how quick they work, they know how they work, whether it's under pressure or not under pressure. And for example, if somebody says, I feel that to create this look, it may take me 2 hours, to do that, then, I have found that, sometimes that's not been respected, because they're like, what do you mean to put a bit of makeup on a face? Like it's so much more than that, they're trained knowledge, to be trained to do it. They know what they're doing, they are proficient at what they're doing, and they know what works and what doesn't. And if they need to get that fine detail and they take that long, then that's how long it takes. And I think just kind of considering that, when it is planning the day, how long do these guys need? Don't assume how long they need. Ask them, and everyone will be different.
So if you're organising a shoot, it really, you need to do a proper schedule and sort of survey everybody who's going to be involved to make sure that they, how long it's going to take them and what they need to be able to do their job properly. So that
that's exactly it. We've gone on shoots before, which have been brilliant shoots, but we've ended up getting changed at the side of the road, which was fine because it was warm.
It was just an oversight, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, and it's sometimes things like that. You need facilities for everyone to keep them warm, fed, and to be comfortable. And I think that goes a long way.
Yeah.
Oh, and I want to shout out, was it Alexander Events?
Alexander Events.
This guy's worth a shout out. I don't know if you've met him yet.
Brand new wedding venue for 2021.
It's exclusive. It's literally getting built.
It is, well, it's still in kind of, development, but the wedding venue itself is finished and ready. He wants to do some showcases, I believe. It's up in Northallerton way, isn't it? Northallerton. It's TP, but the difference with this one is that it's a ready-made TP on a site. So you're not having to find a field, then hiring a TP company, then have it put up and all the whatever. Solid wood floors, you don't have to worry about
fire
pits,
going
through in the wood. He's got fire pits. He's got a beautiful lake, It's
crying out for some videography.
It is, absolutely.
I'm on the phone.
We were going to get married again. I would definitely probably get married at his venue because he has everything. He has a bar, he has ceremony. He's in the process of developing like yurts. Is it yurts?
Awesome.
Yeah. Kind of glamping.
Going back to networking, network with him.
You need to check out this guy. If you want to plan a styled shoot, or are you looking to get married yourself and you want that kind of TP woodland wedding, but you don't want all the hassle that goes with it. It's already pre-made. It's like
It's good though because there's so many venues now, and there's so many venues kind of coming up and different ones, but a lot of people in the wedding industry, they don't know about it until they start getting the word out there, and it's good to be at the front of the queue for if you're doing promotional work and things like that and collaborations. It's good to be on the early side of that. So that's fantastic.
Watch this space.
I'll have to take a look at it. Have you got a picture of it there?
Yeah, absolutely outstanding.
No, that one with the lake. I mean, a TP venue that comes with a lake is. Hang
on there. We'll look at that.
Wow, that is nice.
It's like Glastonbury, but for weddings.
And then inside, I'll get you a quick inside picture. Oh, that's a good one.
Wow.
So
that is lovely.
None of the mud and the the worry like that. There's a little bit of a video there. Can you see of the inside?
Nice. No sinking with your heels.
So they've got ceremony area that can be transformed into a dance floor in the evening.
Nice.
It's big. He, as an individual as well, is just so friendly. It's just when you just need again that connection with somebody. He's
that was one of our recent shoots.
So this was one of the ones of the last ones that we did. But look at that venues, guys. Yeah. So that's new on the market. Check it out. But
it's exciting that something new has happened when everything else has stopped. They're away in the background. Probably like you've built up your podcast, and I know you do other things media-wise, not just weddings. And I think a lot of people are building up other avenues in the background, aren't they? For us, if the wedding modelling dies down, because people will be getting married again, hopefully, so they won't need couples for content so much. We'll still do workshops, hopefully.
Hope so.
But if people don't need the content anymore because they're actually photographing and videoing real couples.
Yeah.
Then we hope to go into more. We've done some lifestyle shoots, haven't we?
Yeah, recently
for
with Jen.
venues and things like that.
Yeah.
What's that? Jen at My Pretties.
Jen at My Pretties, yep.
But
we did the first lifestyle.
Definitely, in years to come, if it does go quieten down, we might go into catalogues and that type of thing.
Well,
brilliant, yeah.
I mean, again, this isn't our primary job. It's something that we do kind of on the side, for us to bond as a couple and to kind of, have that break from reality, really. But if we were to continue with it, and for whatever reason, we weren't able to continue doing as much bridal, because we've probably already been used, or because we're getting older, or because again you don't need us in the same way as you do at the moment. Lifestyle or something new, maybe involving the kids, maybe making it more of the Foxton family kind of, would be something nice to kind of look at doing as something different, wouldn't it? But we're quite happy as we are for now, I think, can't we?
Yeah, it's great. It's really nice, isn't it, to have been invited into this industry from an outsider to become an insider.
Yeah,
it's definitely been an eye-opener, and it's a really nice thing to do. I'd recommend it to anyone, wouldn't you?
Yeah, but you guys are, I mean, the image, the images that, like I say, you've done a lot in a very short space of time. And on my Instagram, there tends to be lots of people that everybody follows each other and stuff. So I see all these images of you, not just the ones that you post, but ones that different photographers, videographers, they've done with you, and there's a reason you keep getting used, because you do look the part, and you're obviously so easy to work with, and I can tell you firsthand that not every couple, and certainly not every model, all the models are as easy to work with. So that's you should know that you're doing it right, and I hope that you get lots and lots more opportunities, and if you do end up going into other bits of modelling, I'm sure it'll be really successful for you. So
if anybody's thinking of kind of wanting to try something new, if wants to try, like I know Kieran's got in contact with us, and hopefully at some point in the future we're going to do something lifestyle with him when we eventually can. But if anybody obviously out there listening is interested in trying something different to what they've done before, we're more than willing to get in touch.
Yeah, there's some bikini modelling. And
give over.
What, mankini? Like a Borat one.
As long as they airbrush me, I'm happy.
So if people want to get in touch with you because they've got a style shoot or whatever that they're planning, or a workshop, where can they find you?
Instagram is the best way to contact us, at the Foxtons on Instagram, and then on there I believe my phone number is on the information, but if not, just send a private message.
Just slide into the DMs.
Yeah, absolutely. Or more than happy if you want to go onto Facebook. We don't have at the Foxtons, Facebook account, but if you wanted to directly contact me, it would be Jennifer Hannah Foxton. That's absolutely fine if you'd rather do a Facebook message rather than an Instagram message. But the best place I would say, especially because you can look at all of our
stuff,
work. And I do believe, I'll double check that now, but I do believe my phone number is on there. But if not, just send a private message. I'm on there. I will get back to you.
Contact Jen. She's the brains of the outfit. I do the driving.
You're the driving.
I drive.
We're videoing, aren't we? As well as
we
are videoing on here, aren't we? As well. So yes, my phone number is on there. I knew it was, but that's our. There we go. Can you see that? Is that clear?
Yeah, I think so. Yep, brilliant.
So there's our profile, the Foxtons, and I don't believe you have to put the little emoji in. I think if you just type the Foxtons,
I think that'll work.
And then my phone number's on there. We are willing to travel as well. Again, if it's local, we usually are quite flexible with not charging expenses when it comes to local work. But we are willing to travel. But we would probably like to negotiate something if it's quite far out, but we're very flexible with everybody. Everybody's got different budgets, everybody's got kind of like different ideas, and even though we do have kind of an umbrella kind of price that we like to charge, you just contact us if it's something that's not in your budget, where we are willing to discuss that. We're not strict really.
Yeah. And if I think people should follow you as well, because you know, even if they weren't gonna if they weren't needing a model, I think it's really good. You've got such an eclectic, diverse kind of portfolio now on your Instagram because of all the different photographers and videographers that have been capturing you. I think you've got some really lovely mixture of images and styles. So it's really good inspiration for everyone, I think.
Yeah, and as well, if anybody looks at any of our work and they see something in particular that they really like, whether it be the stationery, the dress, the style of photography, whatever, I hashtag and tag the suppliers underneath every single photograph that we post.
Yeah.
So it's a good place to, obviously, A, advertise yourself through our pictures, or B, to kind of do some research and, see and get in contact with some people that we've worked with. It's, if it's to use at your own wedding or to use at a different styled shoot or whatever, it's a good way of finding people as well.
Fantastic. Anyway, I really appreciate your time, guys. So thank you very much, and take care of yourselves, and hopefully I'll see you soon. Right, that's it for another episode. Thank you so much for listening to the Wedding Mavericks podcast. If you want more information, check out our website at weddingmavericks.com. If you want to check out what's happening on the socials, it's at Wedding Mavericks on both Instagram and Facebook. And you can watch on our YouTube channel under the same name. I hope you come back for more next week. And that's it. Bye for now.